Welcome to the True to the Core post show. We've got your big takeaways and moments that you just saw with our expert panel, Jillian Bruce, Director of Strategic Content, Susanna Plaisted, Senior Product Manager of Well Architected, Jennifer Lee, Lead Admin Evangelist, and Alba Rivas, Lead Developer Advocate. Now, Jillian, what makes True to the Core such an important part of Trailblazer DX?
Well, it's really the time where we get to have accountability and real questions about where our product is going and ask questions about why wasn't this delivered? Where is this happening? Now, what I really liked about this True to the Core is they started it out with actually paying off the idea exchange points that have been delivered or in the process of being delivered. And that was hundreds of thousands of points, which I was really impressed by.
Very cool. Now, True to the Core, it's really important for all of our customers, but especially for our technical trailblazers. Susanna, Jennifer, and Alba, let's kick that off. Tell us about why this session is so important as a customer.
Yeah, so I think you get some of those big ideas delivered. You get your voice heard and really transparency and accountability about what's happening with the product.
So the first time I heard about True to the Core, I knew that I had to put that on my top must-attend list for every Dreamforce TDX because you get to hear from the product manager. You get to ask those hard questions of them. Yeah. See them squirm a little, but hold them accountable. So that to me is the best thing about True to the Core.
And you've never missed it, right, at TDX?
No, after the first one, once I found out, I was like up front and center.
What about you, Alba?
Yeah, well, I think that one reason developers really enjoy True to the Core is the honesty of the responses. You have seen how Parker, Kush, Alice, the product managers were responding, explaining everything that is under the scenes. Why a feature is taking time to be delivered. What are the technical challenges that implementing that feature brings with it? And that makes developers empathize with the company and with the product managers and with what we are doing and really understand the technology more.
Right. Absolutely. Now, Jillian, let's start with you. What was a key moment for you of this True to the Core?
The honesty. I mean, this is honestly coming out and saying, here's the points that we've delivered. We know that these are challenging moments. And then really being also honest about, hey, we know we need to invest in setup and this is where we're making investments. I thought that was good. Again, really kind of getting that empathy from some of the folks who care the most about the product. And so just leading off immediately with, hey, here are the things we've delivered based on your feedback, based on the things you've put on the Idea Exchange and you have voted for.
Yeah. That was a really strong start. Susanna, what stood out to you?
Yeah, for me, I think it was just also that honesty, and it's like we're 25 years now, Salesforce is 25 years old. It's like a healthy, honest relationship with our customers and just seeing what's being delivered. So for me, one of the specific things was related list inline edit. For me, just seeing that come to reality. I remember being a customer like Jen and sitting there, seeing it on the roadmap, being so excited and seeing it delivered is really exciting. And then also for me, the hot button issues or those squirmy moments. There was one that Adam Olshansky, I think, really delivered well, talking about Roadmap Explorer and asking about how that was going to be delivered. And I think we got a commitment. So it's pretty exciting.
Like it. Yeah.
That's exciting. Jennifer, what about you? What stood out?
So being an admin and building out those pages, just hearing about all the enhancements coming to Lightning App Builder, the conditional tab visibility is super big. Being able to put blank spaces in your page, it's like the little things that just delight you. It's like, it's just a given. I'm just like, ooh, I can't wait until this is out so I could design my pages and they look really nice.
And do them the right way, right? You're not doing these hacky workarounds that we all have had to do. Mm-hmm. Now we can do it the right way.
Exactly.
Alba, what about from the developer perspective?
Yeah, so for developers, I heard about a lot of innovations in the realm of Lightning Web Components. They announced local development. That is a very much requested feature that is going to improve the developer experience that our developers are having right now, because think that right now, every time that you want to change your component, you need to deploy it to your org to see the result. And with local development, it's going to be much faster because you're going to be able to make a change and take a look at it immediately. And that's going to be a real game changer.
Right.
And they also mentioned that there's going to be a beta in summer about template expressions. This is going to allow developers to write JavaScript within their HTML templates. That's going to reduce the code that you need to have in your JavaScript code, in your JavaScript class, and it's going to make it more cleaner. And it's also going to align to other frameworks that are standard in the industry.
Yeah. I mean, so far, lots of exciting stuff, and one of the hallmarks of this session is the openness, right? The openness of the exchange of ideas, the conversation. Let's hear from Alice Steinglass just about that openness.
I'll add one more thing, because you asked about, this whole question of what do you acquire and what do you expand and what do we build and where do we partner. Our fundamental philosophy when we think about, especially in the developer space, is open. Open is a core principle of the Einstein 1 platform. It's an open data ecosystem. It's open at the model layer to bring your own model, but it's open way beyond that. So we want to be open to developer tools. We know that Salesforce is probably not the only thing you're using at your organization. So we want to fit in with all of the processes and tools that you want to use, and we want to be an open ecosystem for our ISV community. And that's a fundamental principle we use in how we design all of the software.
Jillian, let's talk now about some hot seat moments.
Oh, there were a few.
There were a few, and you could kind of see it coming because at the beginning, Parker's like, oh yeah, we get some of the tough questions. Like, you could tell they're kind of bracing for it, right?
Well, that's why they have, 3 rows of actual product managers in the audience right there to
Phone
help
a friend.
answer those questions. Exactly. And, that's, again, one of the unique things about True to the Core, and I think it's so special and so unique. And we had a few. And what was really great is, we see people lined up. We kind of know. You mentioned you go to every True to the Core. We know the people in line. If you've been around for a while,
the same people asking. Oh, amazing.
What is he going to ask? And I think we got some really direct questions about stuff that was promised that has not yet been delivered, which I thought was really interesting.
Yes. Yes, and sort of, I thought their answers were great about, like, look, sometimes things take time, and they're not, even though we say it's going to be winter 24, it may not, but,
But you can tell, there was a great answer from Adam Doty talking about design and why dark mode maybe was taking a little bit longer than we thought.
That was a great one.
I loved his answer from an architect perspective, saying, they're doing a re-architecture of how that actually works. So it's not like they're just turning on the feature and getting a quick win. They're taking a lot of time and effort into doing things, again, the right way.
And really being intentional about it. So it's flowing and it's working and they don't have to redo anything that makes a lot of sense. What about, did you see any hot seat moments or get any hot questions answered?
Well, there was one about the data cloud piece and the record triggered flow. Really being able to test it, have sandboxes.
Yes.
Like, that is key to admin 101, being able to test things out in a sandbox before you place it in prod.
Yeah, when I think it was good, right, there was a moment about data cloud and then also Einstein, right, about being able to do it in a sandbox, how can we get our hands on it? And when customers ask that, it's really compelling, right? Because then our product executives know that they need to do it.
Exactly. And what about 2GP, second generation packaging?
So there was a question about how developer tooling is evolving to support the ISV's use case, and I love the response because both Alice and Vivek, who's one technical evangelist who was there giving a response, mentioned many things that are coming for ISVs. Well, first of all, they mentioned, I have the note here that 2GP, two generation package, is customers are testing it and trying it out, and it's demonstrated to be 3 times or 4 times faster than 1GP, which is amazing.
That is.
Then Alice and Vivek shared about some cool features that they are working on. For instance, Scratcher snapshots. This is something that we had in the roadmap for some time, and now it seems that they are putting attention into it, and I think it's going to be great. And also Vivek mentioned there's going to be an ISV readiness program in which they are going to ensure that the features that are delivered for the platform and for SIs are also like adapted so ISVs can use them, or at least that their status is logged somewhere and that they can keep track of what's
Yeah.
going on with features.
And there was a great question about data loader.
Yes.
Yes. So let's roll the clip and then we'll talk about it.
Data loader IO. It's kind of, a lot of us consider that core at this point, but it seems to be half abandoned at times. So last year it was multiple API versions behind. It got a one-time update to V58 and it's behind again. So if you're on one of the industry clouds, you can't access new features and new objects. So for instance, for nonprofit cloud and education cloud, the entire fundraising section of our clouds, we can't touch it with Data Loader IO. Can we get a commitment to just update dataloader.io on the same schedule as the Salesforce releases? It's just an API update. Can we get that commitment?
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. Data Loader is, from an engineering perspective, is owned by the MuleSoft team, and we were surprised by the momentum that we saw this year in customers, especially SMB customers that are using Data Loader, but also other customers for Data Loader to that. So yes, that is something that we've noted, and we're going to continue to invest further in Data Loader, and I'd love to talk to you more about what use cases they're using, because we believe that there's a strong momentum there.
Should we open source it?
We could definitely look into the possibility of that, yeah.
I mean, not that we want to stop helping you with it, but making it available might potentially, if we can focus on the community, make it evolve faster and get more people involved.
But can we get an API update schedule? I'm not going to let you get away until I get an answer.
Well, we can get a schedule. we'll take it
let's look
offline,
at that. That seems like an
we'll get you a
easy
schedule.
change. Even if we don't add functionality, we should just recompile it and put the new version up.
We usually commit to at least one thing in real time on this stage every year, so there you go.
And now that you're in product marketing, you feel free to commit.
I'm committing on all of your behalf, yes. But I'm sorry, that will be the last commitment we make today.
All right, Susanna, react to that.
Well, that is the magic of True to the Core. Like getting a commitment on stage from Parker Harris about something you're passionate about. And I really resonated with that clip because I worked at a nonprofit. I used dataloader.io. I loved it. And when I heard that it wasn't going to be updated anymore, I was like, my little heart broke for all those those people in my seat. And just getting that commitment for an API update scheduled. Amazing.
And what's interesting, what I love about that moment is it encapsulates True to the Core, because you get this really in-depth answer about the direction of the product and how it all kind of fits in that picture. But then the follow-up question of like, can you just update the API? Like, I just want that commitment. And like, okay, all right, we'll do it.
Nice. Nice. Well, one of the hallmarks, like we had talked about, is that openness, the diversity of the community, and the voices that get to be heard, and that it's an open conversation.
It really is, and that's one of the unique things I think about just Salesforce in general. I mean, I always say it's rare you find a community of people so passionate about enterprise software. Yes. And that is what we are. I hate to break it to everyone, but it is open, and the community is incredibly diverse. I mean, look at this table, right? We've got architects, we've got admins, we've got developers, we've got, so many different people who are stakeholders in our technology, and they are so important to the development of the technology. Salesforce product would not be what it is today without the input of all of those different stakeholders throughout the development of the platform. Really the products that we develop are because of the demand,
From the passion from our customers in the room, the passion from our product managers who are in the room, who I know who really appreciate our customers who are like championing their babies. Like, it's awesome. Those things that they've worked on and they have tried to make the case, It
does really show, and you can tell how much thought they've put into their questions, right? Part A, Part B, and Part C of a question, right? It's really fantastic.
Yeah. And it is very cool, all the different ways in which customers can provide feedback to us.
Yes.
Because they have the True to the Core community, they have idea exchange, they have like the developer groups, or for instance, the focus group that they do with the MVPs. For instance, now it's launched the LWC survey for 2024, which is a survey that influences the LWC roadmap completely.
Well, didn't David say like 600 plus people have taken that? 600 plus developers had taken that? He said that in True to the Core,
Wow.
which means they really do take that feedback and use that to help focus on how to develop the products.
Yeah, well, if people want to learn more about each of your communities,
Yes.
where should they go? Susanna?
So if people want to learn more about all of our resources, Well Architected is really the resource that they should go to. It's on architect.salesforce.com, and they can see how to access it on the screen right now. And it's the one-stop shop for all of the architect resources that folks need to.
Fantastic. Jennifer?
So I'm a Flownatic at heart, so I'm going to plug my Automate This series. So it's live streamed every month, and I feature trailblazers who solve real-world problems with automation, so check it out.
Super cool. Alba?
Yeah, so I'm going to have a similar call to action because the YouTube channel for Salesforce developers, it's very busy. We are publishing videos almost every week. We are doing code lives, which is something that the developer audience love. We are also publishing pre-recorded videos, and I recommend everyone going there, and also to developer.salesforce.com, of course.
Awesome.
Well, and a lot of the content from TDX is going to be on the developers YouTube channel as well as the admins YouTube channel. But
That's right. And you can always share your ideas on the
Idea Exchange,
right?
yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us and for a wonderful True to the Core this year. We'll be right back.
Data is imperative in the age of AI, and we've got our own data expert joining us right now to talk about why. Muralidhar Krishna Prasad, or MK as he's known affectionately here around Salesforce, is EVP of Engineering at Salesforce, focusing on AI, data, MuleSoft, intelligence, and all things really cool and awesome. This is TDX. Welcome, MK.
Thank you, Jillian. It's great to be here.
Well, you did a great job in the keynote yesterday. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about exactly why is data so important in this moment of AI transformation?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think I sort of talked about it briefly in the keynote, right? If you just let AI do what it wants to do, it's going to hallucinate like crazy. I'll give a simple example. We used to have an org. We called it org farm.
Yeah.
And I was using the AI to answer some questions, and it came back saying, "Oh, do you want potatoes and tomatoes?"
I mean, it's a farm, right?
Exactly, right? Like it was So I think it's important in the age of AI for AI to be grounded with your data, right? And so that's really where Data Cloud is going to play a huge role, making sure you have the right data, the right cleansed data, the right unified data about your customer, about your business. So then you can make your AI grounded in it, smarter in it, and do the right answers.
Well, and I think that's something that was so interesting that you made very clear in the keynote was that it's what differentiates Salesforce from maybe what you think of like a Chat GPT or maybe some of those other Copilot products is that the data of an organization is really what powers these AI tools that we're now innovating on top of that. So
that's correct.
I want to kind of get into a little bit more of exactly like how Data Cloud works. So how is it that we're able to kind of harness this data to power these AI tools?
Yeah, great question. So Data Cloud works by simple means, right? One is we have a lot of connectors to a lot of your sources, like CRM, marketing, your databases and all that. In the case where you have data sitting in trapped places like warehouses and others, where you may have spent millions of dollars doing it, we can easily connect to it. You don't even have to move the data because we bring the metadata to you. The power of Data Cloud is not that it can do data, the fact it's attached to the Salesforce metadata platform, which means the moment you bring that data through whatever means, you put that metadata on it, everything lights up, right? Your flow lights up on it, your sales, service, lightning lights up on it. Right? You can do predictive, you can do generative, everything just lights up automatically, which means you put your data to action, right? And the thing that I like to use often is, if you've think about IT and business, these are two separate islands. Business kind of wants to do their own, but IT often is like, no, I'm going to control it, you can't do it, right? In every company, this is the same thing. Data Cloud really comes in there and bridges that gap. So you can do all that IT richness you've created in terms of data, and then really use it and democratize that data to all your business applications.
You know, there's a saying that us in the admin community used to say all the time, is it isn't in Salesforce, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I feel like Data Cloud kind of extends that even further. It's like, maybe it's not in Salesforce, but it's easy to get it into Salesforce.
That's right. That's right. So I think we are really bringing all you trailblazers and others. Now you can bring in a lot more data and really make your applications souped up. Imagine that real-time example. Somebody's browsing a website. You want to now have that reflected in your Service Cloud or Sales Cloud or Slack. It's possible now with few clicks, no code.
I mean, yes, it opens up a lot of new opportunities and really kind of changes the way you think about data and what is contained, what's accessible.
That's right.
So I wanted to kind of dig in a little bit. Now you talked about something in the keynote that I thought was really interesting. You talked about retrieval augmented generation, or RAG.
Yes.
Kind of how it unbounds the traditional limitations of some LLMs. Can you please dig into that a little bit more?
Yeah, so what LLMs are, think of them as a general knowledgeist, right? They have a world's data in them. They can really comprehend a lot, like natural language like we talk about. Yeah. What they don't have is your business data.
Right.
Hopefully you don't give it to them. They'll
don't
use
do
it for
that.
others,
Not
right?
a good practice, yeah.
And so what we are doing with what is called as RAG, or retrieval augmented generation, is to be able to create the instruction to tell the LLM what to do, which they are very, very good at, but then send the actual data that is your business data so that they can actually create the response grounded in that data. So in the keynote, as an example, we grounded with the customer name, Isabella. Yep. Or we put things like whatever Isabella has done with the data graph, right? All of those related activities and the products that your company sells, so that you don't want the LLM to come back selling potatoes and tomatoes, right? so that is really what RAG is. You're retrieving data, you're augmenting your prompts, then you're generating it with generative AI. That's all RAG is.
I love it. It's all a puzzle that kind of comes together to really deliver that next generation experience. I love that. So let's talk a little bit more about more data. Unstructured versus structured.
That's right.
Now we mentioned, I said if it doesn't exist in Salesforce, it doesn't exist.
Right.
And now with the advent of Data Cloud, you talked about how you're being able to pull in data from other resources. What is the difference between structured versus unstructured data, and kind of how do I think about that if I'm an app builder?
Great question. See, all, 25 years of CRM existence, it's all run by somebody entering something into a form. Those are all fields, structured fields you enter in them, right? But if you really step back and think, and by the way, this is how the whole world works with databases and all of those things, right? Tableau and so on. But 80% of the world's data is stuck in unstructured form. That's like the conversation we're having. It's text, your contracts, right? Or even the case descriptions and many more. And thus far, the best we've been able to do is put a search on it, but search is still a separate system. It's not really integrated with your business process. It's a separate standbar there. What we have done with Data Cloud is to be able to bring all of that data, use LLMs to semantically understand that data, which is what we call as embeddings, which means you don't have to say the same text. The concept, it knows the concept. And then we've gone above and beyond by integrating into our metadata platform, which means you can do joins. So for example, you can start looking for who talked about like water damage in your case. And then you can link it to the case object and the contact. You can start exploring and really bringing the power of that unstructured with your flow, with your automation, with your lightning and everything else. So for an app developer, this is going to unlock such a vast amount of data that they couldn't touch before.
Oh, I love that. Well, that is all the time we have. I feel like we could continue talking about Data Cloud forever. You are the Data Cloud expert. MK, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here.
I so appreciate it. And if you want to learn more about Data Cloud, we've got you covered with some great Trailhead content on building Data Cloud powered experiences. Check out sfdc.co/datacloud. In the main keynote, we heard how the Turtle Bay Resort uses Einstein 1 to personalize their customer experiences. To learn more about it, I had the chance to talk with Robert Marusi, Turtle Bay Resort's Chief Commercial Officer. Take a look. Aloha, Robert. Thank you for joining us today.
Aloha, Jillian. How are you?
I am good. I'm not as good as you are because you are in a beautiful location. And I want to talk about that. So Turtle Bay is a world-renowned resort in Hawaii, and a hallmark of a stay there is that personalized service. But the service starts well before you get on site. Can you tell us a little bit about your mission to personalize engagement with Turtle Bay?
Yeah, it's all about, using the tools that Salesforce gives me to, create advanced segmentation, right? To really understand and personalize the journey, pre-arrival journeys before they even get here. And how do we tailor it based on their likes, interests, and affinities, and make that choice easier for them and optimize their journey when they're on property.
Okay, so let's talk about actually how you're accomplishing that. That's a really big goal. How are you actually doing that for the customer?
Yeah, it's really coming from obviously, Marketing Cloud is our core, and part of that core is personalization. So we're actually creating a pretty solid digital relationship with the client. We're getting the client to de-anonymize and say, hey, I want to sign up for emails and I want to receive information, and here are my interests, right? And based on those interests, then we establish a persona that you come into a persona bucket for us, and then we start marketing the journeys from there.
Okay, so you mentioned Marketing Cloud, but we want to get nerdy because this is a technology conference. I'd really like to know how you're using Einstein 1 to really help better serve your customers to align with your mission.
Einstein 1 has really given us the power to understand the 360 view of the customer. And that's when they're on site, right? So when they're on site, we have a 360 view under a single pane of glass, under a mobile device. It could be an iPad, it could be whatever mobile instrument you're using, that we know what your likes are, we know what your interests are, and we establish a grading level of the propensities to buy into different experiences and activities here based on hyper personalization, based on segmentation, and based on creating those journeys. So it's giving us real power on site. And then it's giving us real power to deliver pre-arrival journeys that actually are getting you to buy into creating memorable moments here.
Okay, well, I would imagine that there's many memorable moments that are created at Turtle Bay. And you talked a little bit about how you're using Einstein 1 to help achieve those moments for customers, but how are you using Einstein 1 to really augment your workforce's experience? Because they're the ones delivering those moments, correct?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? And with Copilot, it's giving us the ability to have a bunch of, auto responses that are typical questions that come in that Einstein AI learns and learns the right response back. And when those auto responses are happening in the background, it gives my associates the ability to talk more to the client, to customize their journey better, to really personalize the experience, to talk story, to let the culture come out, to let the local feel of that associate come out and really establish a better conversation and time for a conversation on what is the next best experience for that customer to take care of, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love how you describe that it enables the people who are providing the experience to really focus on that human to human connection versus maybe doing those kind of process or tasks that take you away from that actual face-to-face conversation. Now, I'd love for you to share a little bit about what you learned. Maybe there's some other organizations that are watching and looking to use AI to also augment their own workforces. What advice and tips do you have to share?
I mean, my whole journey here was the 360 view, right? And how do we talk to the client with better intelligence? How do we really understand what their likes and interests are, right? And in my industry, we're typically fans of point-to-point solutions. And I really wanted an end-to-end solution where I could really bring my data into one spot from all my different data sources, ingest it into one spot, layer in data cloud and AI over there, and really help me deliver the storytelling to the customer, right? And it's helped me immensely. It's given me triple digit increase in conversion. It's given me quadruple, 4 times the visitation on my website. It's given me the ability to really engage and really have real time collaboration. And the thing is, it's not hard, and it's actually fun. And it's actually giving my employees the opportunity to be the employee of the future. And it's giving me the ability to recruit better, right? Because we have these modern tools that are allowing people to actually have fun with it and complete things that they need to complete.
I love it. The employees of the future and making people happier on both your customer side and your workforce side.
It's a win.
It is a win. Now, talking about future, what are you most looking forward to in your partnership with Salesforce going forward?
Yeah, I think it's growth at scale, right? I think it's continuing my end-to-end view of the customer. It's really learning from such a professional team and organization to help me grow, to help me augment that growth to my staff and bring in more employees of the future, right? And we have to change. Change is imminent, and it's no longer a choice. Do I purchase this software or not? It's not a choice anymore. It's table stakes. And so I'm really looking for a vendor to come along with a journey for me, and Salesforce has been with me there since day one.
Thank you for sharing your journey with us, and thank you for letting Salesforce be a part of your journey there at Turtle Bay. Robert, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and I look forward to visiting you hopefully very soon. Aloha.
You're welcome anytime, Jillian. Aloha.